Everybody, today we are going to go through Twitter bios, how to write a high converting Twitter bio, look at a lot of examples, and by the end of this video, you will have written one for yourself, have a high converting profile, so every post you do gets more juice, getting followers, more engagement, etc. Okay, we're going to start with analyzing several businesses, then we're going to get into founders, and then we're just going to talk about general bios if you fall outside of those two realms. So first, let's start with looking at Ramp. Ramp is a great example of, on the timeline, if you think about what a profile picture draws, this color is extremely vibrant. Like you're immediately going to see it. That's just part of their brand coloring. And if you look at the actual text here, it's the all-in-one financial operations platform that saves both businesses time and money. So this is, their like one-liner, and then they follow it up with this good ethos building, trusted by 50,000 plus teams. That's giving them, credibility on top of this first statement. Very simple, very clear. If we look at this here, Money Talks, Now It Thinks, if you actually go to their website, that is also their tagline. I believe they also are using that as a like a billboard campaign too. So you have to think about, like, if you have a modern campaign happening, like if someone's gonna go to a billboard, or if you're running ads, or the content you're posting, this is a great real estate to actually be able to expand upon that idea and solidify it. Now I have a better chance of remembering Money Talks, Now It Thinks. So don't think this just has to be some like pretty ambient thing. You actually want to drive value here. So if you want something similar to Ramp, think of what your one-liner is, and then add in what your ethos is. So, it doesn't have to be trusted by 50,000 teams. It could be like, oh, we've generated 1 million impressions for brands or whatever. Or, get this in one line and then do that here. What I also want to talk about here, which is really important, is the location. So location has basically been hijacked to be another way to like communicate value. So for them, they probably have a lot of people like asking about support. Instead of putting DM for support here, they actually have it right here, DM for support. That is supposed to be their location. People don't utilize location in the same way that they used to, and we'll see that in the other examples too. So this is a great profile, very clear of what they do. They establish authority. They have other things here, and it's a coherent brand experience to the entire one. Now let's look at Claude. So the first thing, I just want to start at the top, keep thinking. They had that, famous billboard campaign in New York, which was about thinking. So it's the same thing as Ramp, where they're pulling out major brand strategy, keeping the messaging consistent here. So Claude is an AI assistant built by Anthropic to be safe, accurate, and secure. Talk to Claude on claude.ai or download the app. So this one, Claude is an AI assistant built by Anthropic. I understand why they're tagging Anthropic. However, it's almost taking away from, the potency of their messaging. Because, it's kind of like, okay, like you're tagging this other company, if you just say like Claude is like, helps you keep thinking, or if you just have like a very succinct line there of their one-liner, it might be more potent. But they decided to go with really tagging another brand, or tagging their parent company basically, to be safe, accurate, and secure. So if you think about Claude versus, let's say, ChatGPT, what are people worried about with general AI? It's like, okay, if it's safe, oh, it hallucinates, it's not accurate, like, and is my data secure? So they are just using this as counter positioning to ChatGPT. So if you're not like the number one player, typically you have to utilize counter positioning. So if you aren't currently doing that in a market where you are, like, this is a way to do it. Find out what people are afraid of with your competitors and use this as counter positioning. And then they get into like the CTA, talk to Claude on claude.ai or download the app. That's nice because it's like, oh, they have an app. It's a way to kind of say that. However, they're also like not utilizing their location here. So they could say like, think with Claude and then have claude.ai here, or, download the app and then claude.ai, whatever. Really thinking through, because we see the less, they have Claude as AI assistant, by Anthropic, and then there's 3 different value props that they're giving here, and then they have 2 separate CTAs. So this is an example of a profile where they actually, by doing less, could be doing more. However, it's good, it works. Those are just slight optimizations. Next, let's look at Wendy's. So Wendy's obviously has been like in the lore for, like being good at Twitter for many years. But the reason they are, and the reason they've been able to stay relevant, is because of their ability to world build and reinvent themselves. Right now, they're doing this like campaign of like tendies, because they have these like 10, like they're fake changing their name to Tendies instead of Wendy's because they're chicken tenders, right? So you can even see this in their bio. Like, we like our tweets the way we like our tendies, hot, crispy, better than anyone expects from a fast food restaurant. Little long, still works though. So even like the banner, chicken tenders, tendies here. Like, this is literally a campaign. Your profile doesn't have to be static. It can be changing with campaigns. Like, they literally fake change their logo. They're a huge company and they're doing this. It's showing that they're really embracing the culture. And then even if we look at, let's say, their location, sir, this is a Wendy's. Like, that's a meme. Like, Wendy's is crushing it for those who are chronically online. They're really displaying like ball knowledge, basically. Like, they know, how to position themselves, how to stay relevant, etc. So the reason I'm showing this one is because world building is important. So if you have a campaign that's actively happening, how can you actually position it throughout the entire experience, from your header down to your bio? And then the second reason is, just proving, that they're chronically online, embracing memes, embracing meme culture. So I think they're a great example of that. So these are just 3 examples of companies. Obviously, it's really important how you position yourself. Are you a professional tool? You wouldn't be doing this strategy. Or are you trying to be more like shit posting? Like, this is a better strategy. But really, it's about articulating what your brand does very clear and succinctly, and then giving proof on how you do that. Another way I've seen people do that is like, we have customers like Delta Airlines, like NVIDIA, whatever. So actually using your customers as proof there by their name. So that's a really quick overview on how to do brands. Let's look into more founder-led and individual content. First, I'll start with Cody Schneider. The reason I like his profile is, let's look at this first sentence: follow for shit posting about growth tactics I'm seeing work for my startup. So follow for shit posting, it's like people love shit posting, people like growth tactics, and then he's saying this is kind of like a value prop of like, or a proof of, I'm seeing work for my startup. So he has a startup, he's saying that in that line. Great line. And then obviously going to the products that he's building. He's also giving his co-founder props here, probably trying to increase his following, sign up for free at Graft. And then he has Graft here again. Like, if his one goal is just to like get people to click this link, I guess 2 links is better than 1. You obviously could just have like sign up for free, Graft there. But yeah, we have 3 different references to it. So he's pushing it pretty hard. For the header, distribution is more important than product. Great line. And also is just kind of like a thesis or like a statement, declarative statement immediately to get people. And then looking to the right, he's just looking right at that following button. Click that following button. This is a good example of a founder because you're giving them a reason to follow. So it's like, follow for shit posting. Like, a lot of people go to your profile and not follow. So he's saying like, no, like, follow if you want this. In the same way, like if you're on a landing page, and what would you say to get people like, click the link to get X? He's basically saying that same thing. A lot of people shy away from this, but I actually think it's a good strategy. And especially if you're saying, like what your value prop is right on top. So good profile here, pretty clean. Next, I'm going to look at my friend Matt here. So let's start at the top. Escape the algorithm, own your audience. Newsletter going up. He's already like, he's positioned as the newsletter guy. So you see this kind of going through the entire profile. And a lot of people will do things like, previously at The Hustle or with Robinhood, whatever, or working with Contrarian Thinking. However, putting logos in your actual bio, especially if you're primarily using this for sales, He's doing all of his like credibility up here on top. So immediately when you come here, you see these logos, you see 15 million plus subscribers, all that work's happening there. And the thing that I really want to note about his profile is he has the newsletter guy. That's huge. If you don't have a brand, let's say you're not building a company, but you're just building you're just a general creator in a niche, declaring yourself as like the blank guy or the blank person is a really good strategy. I'm the marketing guy, or I'm the, fast food chains guy, whatever. This is like how you can differentiate yourself in as a brand. I know that he really honed in on this. And then the reason I also wanted to show this is he has multiple CTAs where he has like an event, he has an agency, he has a course. And then notice also he does the same thing that Ramp did. My newsletter is read by 50,000 plus founders. So what's important here is it's not only saying who, but it's saying who the customer type is. I'm a founder, 50,000 other people do this. I can read it for free. Another also example of the join free here. So if you have a general thing, let's say you haven't started a company, you are just trying to write a general bio, this is really good to just do like, I'm the blank person. This is what I'm talking about. I'm the wisdom. I'm studying wisdom. I'm trying to like quantify what wisdom is. Whatever it is, follow for daily insights and giving like a direct CTA on the value people are getting for following you. So that's a pretty good example. Next, let's look at Winnie, friend of ours. So she is the founder of Chip Social, previously co-founder another company, Chip Social here. I'm showing this as an example of like not having to overdo anything. Very simple. She has a nail brand, nail emoji, founder, Chip Social, previous, another like credibility building thing here, kind of like fun header, actual PFP. It's very clean, clear, actually uses location here, another link to the company. You don't have to make it super complicated. I'll also show Andros, my co-founder. So he's doing something similar where he's giving value prop of what he's doing, building the future distribution at Growth Terminal. Very simple right there. Header, it's cute, shows some desire of shit posting with a cat. It's actually my cat, he's right there. Anyway, and then like a chart with like fart coin, right? It's like supposed to be like kind of memey. So all of these are showing that there's so many different ways that you can approach like your bio. What the goal is after someone leaves it, they should know like who you are, what you stand for, what you post about, right? And make it as simple and easy for them to understand that as possible. If you do these three things, a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to put myself in a niche. You should put yourself in a niche and just experiment inside that niche for a while. As you get bigger, it's easier and easier to talk about broader topics. But it's a great way to start just with this niche laser focus. Anyway, hope that you found this helpful. Let me know if you drop a comment. We can analyze what your account looks like, help you write your own bio too if you need some feedback. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, my friends.